I
Well,
believe we were,
Go ahead.
I mean, if you remember, like it was us and Yellow Brick Road, I guess we were the two most popular bands because station casinos would say, they had a few more people at their shows, but we outsold them like double on the bar tab.
I was gonna say because the people that came to see us
yeah.
drank a lot more. Yeah,
And we'd have drinking. If you remember, we'd have drinking games, and Michael would be on somebody's shoulders heading out into the casino, and security would say stop.
I was
And
so
we'd have
pissed that night.
If you remember though, we'd have the whole front of the stage just lined up with drinks, just like shots and drinks being bought for us, and there was no way we could drink everything. We'd be dead, you know. But if you remember, we would try.
And that's true, man. And that's kind of the deal, right? I mean, it's when you get down to it and break it down to its essence, it's really an easy job, man. Put butts in seats, sell drinks.
Yeah.
And we were really good at that. And it's because I've said it a billion times. It was because you guys, and later when I joined, it was because we had that fucking following that had mostly been for you guys forever. And then and then that's always my argument. Whenever we broke away from being what the Sinners actually were, we kind of lost. Thank God, a lot of those people stuck around.
Yeah, I mean that's that goes without saying that the people who follow the band really are the biggest part of this whole thing, and they're still part of it now. When we do this Vamped, they're still there. The same people come out. It's the best.
Yep.
God love
it never
them.
Sounds right at rehearsal. It's missing their parts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're right.
Now all those people bring their kids.
That.
We've definitely hit a Kiss Dynasty era.
Wow, I never thought of it that way, but you're not wrong. That's the fascinating thing about it is, I think the other side of it that was made it different than a lot of what was happening in town is that we were actually kind of busting out original songs and having the audacity to go, okay, well, we've got a bunch of people here. And I mean, for those that don't know, we started this thing, we always had a guest. I mean, you guys remember like we'd play a show and the next day you'd be like, oh God, I got to sit down and learn all these George Lynch songs for next Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then you do that show. And the next day you're like, now we got to learn all these, Dead Boys songs and they were a lot of fun, but we did all that through the dive bar days, especially. And it started like that into that next chapter, into the showrooms and whatnot. But it became pretty aware to me, and I don't know about you guys, but I remember thinking like, I think people are here to see us. I think people are here to see us, and they like our songs and they like what we do. And it was, there were certainly nights where the guest crushed, but I feel like it became kind of secondary to the fact that we.
I mean, I believe we were.
Go ahead.
I mean, if you remember, like it was us and Yellow Brick Road, I guess we were the two most popular bands because station casinos would say, they had a few more people at their shows, but we outsold them like double on the bar tab.
I was gonna say because the people that came to see us drank a lot more. Yeah.
And we'd have drinking. If you remember, we'd have drinking games, and Michael would be on somebody's shoulders heading out into the casino, and security would say stop. We'd have
that night.
If you remember though, we'd have the whole front of the stage just lined up with drinks, just like shots and drinks being bought for us, and there was no way we could drink everything. We'd be dead, But if you remember, we would try.
And that's true, man. And that's kind of the deal, right? I mean, it's when you get down to it and break it down to its essence, it's really an easy job, man. Put butts in seats, sell drinks.
Yeah.
And we were really good at that. And it's because I've said it a billion times. It was because you guys, and later when I joined, it was because we had that fucking following that had mostly been for you guys forever. And then and then that's always my argument. Whenever we broke away from being what the Sinners actually were, we kind of lost. Thank God, a lot of those people stuck around.
Yeah, I mean that's that goes without saying that the people who follow the band really are the biggest part of this whole thing, and they're still part of it now. When we do this Vamped, they're still there. The same people come out. It's the best.
Yep.
God love
it never
them.
Sounds right at rehearsal. It's missing their parts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're right.
Now all those people bring their kids.
That.
We've definitely hit a Kiss Dynasty era.
Wow, I never thought of it that way, but you're not wrong. That's the fascinating thing about it is, you know, I think the other side of it that was made it different than a lot of what was happening in town is that we were actually kind of busting out original songs and having the audacity to go, okay, well, we've got a bunch of people here. And I mean, for those that don't know, we started this thing, we always had a guest. I mean, you guys remember like we'd play a show and the next day you'd be like, oh God, I got to sit down and learn all these George Lynch songs for next Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then you do that show. And the next day you're like, now we got to learn all these, Dead Boys songs and they were a lot of fun, but we did all that through the dive bar days, especially. And it started like that into that next chapter, into the showrooms and whatnot. But it became pretty aware to me, and I don't know about you guys, but I remember thinking like, I think people are here to see us. You know, I think people are here to see us, and they like our songs and they like what we do. And it was, there were certainly nights where the guest crushed, but I feel like it became, I don't know, it became kind of secondary to the fact that we're
sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.
Rob's showing us some awesome memories in his. There's Vinnie Paul, Vinnie Appice,
Blas Elias,
Carmine.
That was the drum night. Yeah,
Carmine Appice,
Jordan.
Yeah, Jeff Totoro.
Yep.
All
Les
the guys.
Warner.
All the guys from the Blue Man group.
Is that Les Warner there too?
Yeah, that's Les.
Yeah.
That's Les Warner from the Cult. Those are good times. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
That's funny that you've kept all this. I don't have any of this.
Yeah.
Rob's wall of shame.
Holy smoke, that's awesome, bro.
Wow, you got all kinds of cool stuff there. Yeah.
Wow.
That's Michael.
Rob, where did you get all these photos?
They were given to all of us, man, weren't they? In a folder.
Yeah, I got a bunch of them too.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of stuff. I just never put anything of myself up. Oh, here we go. Now Michael's going to find something crazy.
Actually, I got one of the fans made me this. I think this was Donna.
Oh, the book.
Nice.
Yeah, I remember that book.
Remember that? And like we were talking, Brent, there's all the fucking booze laid up against the
On the stage, yeah.
But this may be. Oh, and then dude, remember this thing when they put this up over Fremont?
Oh
The
yeah,
happy birthday talk thing.
That's
yeah,
right.
man.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, I got some of these things. Here's the lady who did it, along with my ex-wife, which I'll cover out.
That's Stacy. That's Stacy. Yeah.
Stacy, that's
amazing.
it. Yeah.
Wow, that's the cool thing about it is.
Now, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Todd.
No, you go ahead.
Another thing that I have that I'm going to be posting online is I have a boatload of those DVDs from Ovation. Complete shows with all the guests. As a matter of fact, Michael.
Why don't you bring them with?
You should bring that stuff.
Will we be able to like copy them or something? Or
Well, you could probably put those up on YouTube, right, Todd?
well, yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
that was my plan. But but
Go
one
ahead.
of those shows, Michael, you subbed for Zooter. And so there's all four of us are on the stage at Ovation, but it was years before you actually joined it. Well, a year maybe before you actually joined the band.
Yeah, I remember coming in and doing one show like that. Yeah. That's right.
And
who was the
and
guest that night?
Oh, I'd have to look it up. And also those shows that you subbed for Brent, but Brent was there. He would come up and play like a few tunes. He had
to be on standby in case the baby was coming in.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Yeah. Yeah. There was a period there where Brent had Biggie now. How old's Biggie now?
12.
Oh my God.
There you go.
Yeah. There you go. It was 12 years ago. We were like kind of like hovering around like we had to kind of cover it. And thankfully Doc came down and sort of held it together. We all fell in love. And when the moment happened, he was added to the lineup as a permanent, well, semi-permanent, because we only do this a couple times a year now.
That's right.
Except during worldwide pandemics, then we don't do anything. But nonetheless, we actually that's funny to talk about because we went through the process of Well, let's talk about the original time I was going to say, start talking about the new version of the record, but the original record we made back that we released in 2010.
Yeah.
We had started playing songs live, some stuff from my old catalog, and Ellis had songs, Brent brought in songs, and we started putting stuff together, and we did it collectively with Tom Parham.
Yeah.
I remember going out there.
Yeah.
We did drums at Kevin Churko's place. I remember that, Rob. We went down.
Yeah, that was the first thing that went down, man.
Yeah.
I remember that.
I kind of almost forgot about that, but it was Kane Churko, who is now a very, very successful songwriter and producer. And it was kind of like, the boy's going to record you guys today. It's like, oh, great. I've known Kane Churko since he was an infant. You know what I mean? So now he's like, press and record. And I think those guys are so accustomed to a world where you take the drum track and then you put it together into a perfectly quantized thing. And I remember Rob playing like, It's Not You, It's Me. And we were just jamming it or whatever. And I go, that was amazing. Let's move on. And I remember them kind of looking at me like, okay, you know, like this, you're just going to play it once? I go, yeah, it's the Sinners. It sounds, sounds like us. That's the way it's supposed to sound, you know?
Yeah, I've heard people give us, it wasn't people, it was a couple of guys like, well, he just doesn't have that live sound that you guys had. And it was like, well, I mean, you know, unless you sit there and we all sat up and played at the same time, there's really no way to get that live sound. And that's what that is that energy. That's what makes the show so much fun.
Exactly.
It is that energy, you know?
Exactly. But the fact that we did make those things, that recording, and it, you know, it has sort of gathered its own steam and history and legacy in a well, I don't want to talk too big about ourselves, but I like the fact that it was like, we did that. It's never mind the Bullocks. It's kind of like
totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
And
I remember, right, man, even when it came down to like, even when it came down to like producing that thing, we were sending it out. And I remember saying, we're going to end up producing this goddamn thing anyway. And we ended up doing all that stuff. And when we heard the album a gazillion times, I don't think I listened to that album after that for years.
No.
And I just started listening to it because I have to listen to it every, you know, whenever we get together, just to make sure I know what the hell we're still doing. and then the last time I listened, I went, man, this sounds really good. You know, I like the way it sounds.
I'm the same way. I don't sit around listening to anything that I've done. It's kind of like when it comes on, I go, oh, cool, you know. But because you're always attaching. I like it. You're always attaching your experience, whether it was like, oh, the traffic, whatever, you know, whatever it is you're dealing with, or what a hassle that was, you know, and then like years later, you'll look back and just hear the music. You won't be thinking about, oh, that day when the air conditioner went out and we had to play and it was hot or whatever it was. You know?
Yeah, totally.
But now we've, you know, not having a crystal ball and knowing that, you know, we literally had that gig booked like 2 weeks before they shut the world down. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we booked March of 2020 to do the 10-year anniversary of that record that came out in 2020 or 2010. And then so we got new songs on it, a song called High. We did a version, an electric version of Broken Record, an electric version of Hey Hey Rock and Roll. All those two songs were on the acoustic record called Broken Record.
Broken Record.
And and we're like, this is gonna be great, can't wait, it's gonna be fun. And now here we are 11 and a half years later, celebrating the 10-year anniversary of that album. So it's surreal, but it's kind of like, I'm happy that it's happening at all, thankfully.
Yeah, right. You know, it's what I remember about that was being so gung-ho, and then there started being the rumor about like, oh, they might start shutting stuff down. I remember going, like saying, like, no, I'll play in the parking lot. This show is going to happen. Yeah. And then you just, like, who knew it was going to get so,
I know. And that's the bummer of it. It was so close. It would have been a great way. Unfortunately, at the time, I remember it being like within weeks before they actually shut things down, that people were coming from Europe and England and like different places, and they started shutting their travel down. So I immediately was like, oh, this is not good. These people who were going to come over from overseas to see us suddenly can't even travel. I'm like, oh, that's going to be a problem. And then as we know, it was, you know, I mean, for those of us that live in Las Vegas, how long is everybody? Rob, you moved to Vegas, what, like 2010?
It's like 2008.
Yeah, okay. No, it had to be 2007 because that's when we started playing the dive bar.
Okay, yeah, right. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because that was you were yeah, you were there like very, I mean, not very long before we.
I was Sinners was my first gig.
That's right. Yeah. Ever?
That's awesome.
Just kidding. No.
Isn't it obvious?
Yeah, and Brent, you moved to Vegas when?
2004.
Wow. And Ellis, when did you move?
Been here since I was here in '97, and I left for 2 years and realized that Vegas was the greatest place on earth, and I've been here longer than any place else. As much as I like to claim Southern California, I lived in Vegas longer than anywhere else. I love Vegas.
So you came back in 2000 or 2000?
I came back in 2000. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. So yeah, I mean, for all the changes that we've seen, and I'm, I've been here for 15 years, and I've, now I'll be in an Uber with somebody and they'll say, "Oh, I've been here since whenever." I go, "Okay, so were you around when the Dunes was still here?" Like I find that stuff.
Right.
As I got here, I will say, things like the Frontier was still here, the Stardust was still here, the Riviera was still rocking. But seeing those kind of changes is pretty surreal. Like
Bro, I played the Stardust.
Wow.
Really?
That stage, with a band called Ricky and the Red Streaks.
Wow.
We were working opposite each other. Yep.
So now, when you came to town, was there the Bellagio by that point and all that, or was that?
No, that was new stuff, man. When I came to town, everything that is the area I live was where I took my dog to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
that whole Seven Hills area was just nothing, man.
No, I know.
Nothing.
This was desert, like not that long ago. I mean, like it's the fascinating thing about Vegas. There used to be a time where you look at the old pictures of Vegas where it's the Strip and then like kind of like nothing. It's like now you think like, well, I'm several miles from the Strip and there's a lot between us. So that's that's how much the city has grown and continues to grow. The fact that you were seeing like a football team and a hockey team.
That I mean, one, getting a hockey team is a big mind fuck considering we're in the desert. But getting the football team, and especially the Raiders, that is something that, like, when I first moved here, that would never happen because there was no way to control the game on it, the actual game. Well, apparently they must have fixed that. So my bitch is, hey man, California's got like 4 basketball teams. I want a fucking basketball team.
I assure you that's happening. There's rumors of baseball, basketball. I think it's just a matter of time because once they saw how well the Knights, connected with this city, it's just been. I mean, Brent's been playing out. You've been playing outside that stage at the hockey arena off and on for years, haven't you?
Yeah, a few years now.
Yeah, it's a lot of traffic.
Like the park in GM out there, right out by there, and then the bridge. You get a lot. The bridge in front of New York. You get a lot of those hockey fans coming by, and we played a lot of those like hockey. Whenever the hockey game's going on, we play like the show, like try to time it where we're playing before the game or after the game.
Yeah, because there's a lot of traffic going on out there. It's a weird thing to consider that Vegas went from being. I mean, it's always going to be a gaming city, but the fact that it went from being, the focus being gaming to being more about shows, more about that kind of thing. It's sort of interesting. I guess because gaming became a thing all over. You can go to Omaha and find a casino. It's like,
right. I mean, I dig it that it's basically becoming like most other cities, but you have gambling, and gambling isn't really the main money maker anymore. However, when that happens, it brings in all that other stuff that wasn't appealing except for the guys who like the gambling.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the whole vibe of the town is changing,
Yeah, but it's always going to be the place where they have like major poker tournaments and all that kind of stuff. It's always going to be here. But you're right. It is interesting to suddenly have like regular, like having sports teams suddenly makes it go like, wow, this is some significant changes in this city. Watching City Center go up, that took a long time. When I first came down here, Aria, Cosmopolitan, all that stuff was nothing. There was a big gap between the Bellagio and the Monte Carlo, and I was like, "What's this going to be?" There was like nothing, and then all of a sudden, it crept along, and then all of a sudden, now it's like, it's raised the game of this city to be,
man,
one of the nicest in the city.
I've said for a minute, man, that Las Vegas Boulevard, I mean, pretty soon it'll just be like houses all the way up into like Gene. And you can see, and like, dude, all that little area between, like, I don't know, where the, where does the place, where we used to play South Point, from like South Point all the way up to St. Rose, dude, that's just fucking houses now. That's like, and that's a good stretch of road, man.
I know.
Dude, that's a pretty big community coming. You know? Did you when you first like were coming down here, did they have stuff like say what 2000 was the South Point there? Was the Silverton there? Were any of those things? This Silverado Ranch, if I remember right, was just like, if you know that little, I think it's like a bus stoppy type thing. It's like a little gazebo. Okay. That was the only thing there, was that fucking gazebo. And I came home one night and there was a naked guy in that gazebo. And there's nothing out there, bro. So that posed so many questions. And that's how you met Brent Muscat.
That's right, yeah.
The mayor of all things rock and roll. It was part of his campaign. Yeah, part of his campaign. That'll get some interest. No, it's been really interesting to see the changes, and the changes continue. And I think it's really exciting. But the biggest reason, like a lot of people were like, why didn't you guys do this show like months ago? Because, you know, things started to kind of quietly open up in this city. I was kind of like, well, for me, and I can only speak as we spoke about it back then, I was like, I wanted to wait as long as possible for the opportunity that maybe the borders will be open and maybe the Canadians can come down, or maybe the Australians and Europeans, but that's not happening. So that said, I don't know about you guys, but I went by Vamped one night to watch She Clips, the Journey tribute, just because some friends of ours are in the band. And I was like, this place is jamming, man. It's like, it is like Motley Crue is playing in here tonight or something. It's like, and I think it's just a sign that people are they just want to see some live music and they want to get together and have some fun. Yeah, safely, hopefully, safely.
People are sort of done with the pandemic, even though the pandemic is
still occurring. Yeah.
Well, it's not necessarily done with people. People are kind of done with it. You know?
Well, that's human nature. I think the need to get together, the need to rock out and listen to loud music. So it's going to be really fun for us to finally get to do this damn thing. And people who are watching, we haven't rehearsed because Rob is still technically in his van in Louisiana. That's a big van, by the way. I got to say, it fits a drum kit and some lights.
I know, it looks fucking great.
It's a 1973 extended Econoline.
Yeah, it's more. There's very few roads can handle that van.
It even comes with the river.
Yeah. So when Rob gets to town, we get to go over some music, of which we haven't really discussed too much about it, but we'll get into that, and then we'll play a rock and roll show, and then we'll all go back into hiding until the original sin symbol goes up in the sky and there's crimes for us to fight again.
That's right. And I mean, who doesn't want to be in the position, any musician at any level, who doesn't want to be in that position where people actually want to come and be around the scene that you and your friends and everyone else? It's so much bigger than just, I mean, I don't want to go deep. The original sin is so much bigger.
Too late. So much bigger. You're deep. No, yeah. I think I agree, because it's the thing that I love the most, as much as seeing you gentlemen, who I will forever call family, is the fact that when we do it, suddenly all these faces come out that we haven't seen since the last time we did it. You know what I mean? And I think in some cases, and I think, you know, when we've been doing this as long as we have, and you guys have been doing this as long as you have, when you think about when you were 20 years old playing in clubs, there was this sort of group of people you would see on a regular basis. Those people would fall in love and get married and get careers, and they would go away, and a new crew would come in, and it was would sort of change over like that. And I think we saw that in the Sinners a lot. We saw, you know, we were around long enough to see whatever happened to those people. You know, well, they got married and they're having families, and they're, you know, and now here's this new crew of people. And now the funniest thing is when we play is that you're getting people from like the 2007 hang, and then you're getting people from the 2000, and they will all show up together when they, you know, some of the 2007 people had kind of moved on by 2010. So I know we always make inside especially you and I, Todd, we always make those kind of like
Kiss jokes, but it is. I will equate that to the same feeling that I had when last time I saw Kiss. And of course, I have my own judgment of what the hell is going on because I knew Kiss from a certain section. And then, but what I was tripping out was watching all the other people getting off on the eras that I didn't necessarily dig, but that's how big, Kiss is. And it's the same type of vibe now when you start getting these different things coming in. It's like, oh, hey, man, well, welcome to the army.
Yeah, it's the same as any band that's been around a long time. Iron Maiden, Judas Priest,
right, yeah.
Guns N' Roses. There's like, for those of us who were invested in Appetite for Destruction, the later versions of Guns N' Roses, there are people who are like really into that stuff. And you're like, oh, okay, well, there you go. And it's just, it just things kind of change, and then that goes, the audience changes as well. And it's not everybody who is like suddenly a grown ass person with a family is going to go, we're getting in the car and we're driving out to Idaho to see whatever band play. It's like, are you crazy? I got bowling tonight, or whatever, or whatever they got going on. But no, I think the best thing about it is an Original Sin show turns into essentially a family reunion to me.
Yeah, totally.
And it bums me out a little bit that we're not getting everybody able to come as far as the globe. Yeah. But we are going to see our Vegas crowd, and that is more than enough for me.
And Vegas Strong has always kept the sinners being the sinners.
That's true. That is absolutely true. Yeah. We I feel very fortunate. I feel like we're really lucky to be able to do this 14 years later and say, and it's funny because I had this conversation with famous name dropped here, Watch Your Feet. I had a conversation with a friend of mine once saying, well, there's no real reason to stop doing it. It doesn't mean that it's a big difference between kind of like, I'm quitting the band or I'm, the band's breaking up. And it's sort of like, I don't really think of it that way anymore. Because when I think about like, my old band from the 90s, the Canadian band with my brother, we did a reunion tour not that long ago and we did stuff like that. It's never really feels like, nothing has ever really broken up. It just kind of feels like we can keep doing this, whenever it presents itself till we're old men.
Yep, I always equate this.
Sorry, older men.
Older men. I had a buddy once tell me there was a picture of me with a friend of mine, and I had captioned it, if this was a Western, I'd ride with him. And one of my buddies goes, this is a Western. And that's the way I've equated you guys and everyone else that I work with since that day. This gang's going to get together. We're going to get our shit together. We're going to go do a job. And then we're going to go our separate ways and do our jobs with our other guys until this gang rides back up together again.
Totally,
it's just, I mean, fucking look at Muscat over there. You telling me that guy's not a fucking cowboy?
Kind of cowboy / gangster, I think. Yeah.
This is my horse.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't
She's
know.
Probably big enough to ride.
Shit. Brett might be Zorro over there. I'm not sure. The glasses look like a mask.
It could be. Yeah.
This is morning time for me, so it's like my eyes are all swollen and sleepy and crusty, and I'm like, I'm just gonna put on some sunglasses and not worry about it.
I don't blame you. Well, okay, let's wrap it up because I'm sick of you guys. Just kidding.
Have you ever told the people what the day is?
Oh, it is September 4th, which is 2 days from now if you're watching this.
That's right.
It's on the Saturday, so you should all come down. If you can get here, you should get. I know a lot of people are traveling from California and a few other places too, so I'm really excited to see. I'm excited to see everybody, man. It's just like it's enough already. So, let's have a blast.
Has anybody started practicing yet?
I put it. I went to run tunes the other day, and then immediately wrote Todd and went. My hands remember all these songs.
I know. It's the funniest thing is the muscle memory challenge of it. You just kind of press play and go like, oh, why am I listening to this? I know all this. Yeah. It's like,
the part
well, that's why we always change it up.
That's true.
For this show that's coming up, I've been practicing a lot on these Afro-Cuban polyrhythms and things. And,
nice.
And they're all going in Brent's solos. You're gonna love
it. Yeah, Brent used to love that when there suddenly "Sweet Child of Mine" would turn into an Afro-Cuban.
Yeah, I've always looked at. what the hell's going on here?
That's just getting bored. Yeah, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, crash.
It's the fourth night in a row of playing the same damn songs. Yeah.
Right.
The one thing about the Sinners though is that we never really played the same show twice. Even if it was the same set list, it was always ever changing.
Yeah, that's the beautiful part. We get into those rehearsals, and we're probably going to do it again this time. And we'll get into rehearsals and we'll run, I don't know, the songs that, you know, the Exile probably, but all them other tunes that we just do live that we've never really ran, those tunes will always sound exactly the same.
That's the funny thing.
You know,
You're
it's
right.
so funny.
Those kind of like cover songs that we would bust out.
Yeah.
No one sat down and learned Dramarama or anything. We just jammed them, you know. Like,
No, we didn't learn Wicked Game, man. That just happened.
yeah, exactly. Literally, I think we just started jamming. And it's like, it's, you know, in this key. Just follow me, and off we went. Yeah.
I still don't think I've ever heard the Dramarama tune, except for when we play it.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Yeah. Well,
Yeah. What's the video of I think it was back at one of those strip joints where we're doing like Madonna, and you say something that is the way that we pick up songs. Wow, I never think we get this far. Well, I guess we do this song now.
yeah, I remember we out of nowhere just jammed Like a Virgin in its entirety
Yes.
one night. Like how
Yes.
it's on video somewhere, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh my god, I can't believe
Everything. Yeah.
everything's on video. Yeah. Yeah. Even more so now, but it is funny to think that, yeah, back then, the early days of like cameras out, film these guys, there's always something crazy
You
happening.
know what I wish was on video was that fight that Todd got in at Wasted Space.
Oh.
I got in a fight.
Oh, you
I
jumped in the crowd.
You
Oh,
jumped in
sure.
the crowd and you
And you
started
jumped on some guy.
Oh, really? Well, that
Oh,
might have
you
been.
didn't think you remember this? Okay, dude, if you don't remember this,
That might have been a mating ritual.
It was a great night, man. You sit there, we're playing, and this one guy is like, I love you. He's this guy. I love you. You guys are awesome. Boom. Good night. Fuck you guys. You motherfuckers get back up there and start playing. Blah, 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 blah. And I say to the guy, I'm going to take my bass off. I'm going to turn around. I'm going to fuck you up. I turn around and you have hopped off the stage and you're beating on him.
Oh wow! I vaguely
That's
recall
not
that.
on you.
No, that's not on YouTube. It's probably
That's
on
not
the.
on YouTube.
It's probably on like Hard Rock security cameras.
Yeah, totally. That'll wind up on TMZ now.
Exactly.
Wait, go through the files. Fuck that. Oh, this is it.
That's so funny that those people who like they drink to a good time and then head into like dark territory, and you're like, you know, you just, and as a musician, you're like, dude, I'm just playing music here. Like, give me a break. What are you gonna do?
Play seven more. I was here at fucking 9 o'clock. Where were you?
yeah, exactly. We've been here for 4 hours. Do you remember some of those dive bar nights where we would go? Like, I remember going till the place, well, it never really closed, but it would be like, people would be like, you know, hardcore people would still be there, but a lot of people would be like, I gotta go, I gotta get up for work or whatever, and we would just keep
Dude,
going.
I saw the
and
sun
going.
come up from that place so many times.
Yeah, I know. I always said that Doc's party started even after the band finished. I was like, good night, and I would, you know, kind of hang out, say hello, and then I'd go home. But I was like, Ellis's night's just beginning. Like, there's a whole other adventure that happens here, and it usually goes around town and ends up back at the dive bar.
Yeah, man. It was Vegas was a lot of fun in the days that we were tearing it up.
Yes, exactly.
I'm kind of surprised that when we were doing the dive bar, that we got the guests that we got and play in a place like this big. You know?
If we've learned anything, musicians like money.
Yes.
Remember the East Bay race show, and he left with like these 3 girls that were like younger than his daughter.
Of course he did. I remember that the best thing, not only was it a tiny little place, but the gear was constantly failing. There was like one light or something crazy. I remember I remember being at a sound check one day and Brent literally just leaving and going, where did he go? And he came back. He went down to like Sam Ash or Guitar Center and came back with monitors. He bought
with monitors.
The hell with this. Or a PA system or something. I can't remember what it was. And I was like, oh, wow, we're investing in this now. Because
it was monitors, because the monitors were blown from like the punk band they had the night before.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was like, we have a guest. We can't play without monitor, some kind of monitor, you know.
Yeah.
And I remember going down to Sam Ash, just going and buying them. But I'd also go down to like Home Depot and buy a light. The light bulb would be blown out. I'd have to buy the one light bulb above us. you know?
Yeah, they didn't have a
Fucking
back.
awesome, man.
They didn't have those backlights. They literally had like one light that just
Yeah,
Like a
kinda-
light bulb hanging down. Yeah.
so funny. All right, well, let's wrap it up. Rob, I want you to travel safe. Have you been traveling at all? Have you been flying at all during any of
Oh
this?
no, no, I did fly when our show got canceled over a year ago.
Yeah.
I actually did fly to Vegas because I had some stuff that I still had to pick up out of storage.
Right.
So I flew to Vegas. I actually saw people with like hazmat suits on the
Oh my
airplane
gosh.
because it was like
wow.
right when everything first started, you know.
Yeah.
And so I like flew to Vegas. I rented a truck the next day, packed up my storage space, and took off. I was there for like maybe 30 hours. You know,
How long a drive is that?
oh, it was like 2.5 days, 2 days.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there you
But
go.
but that was the last time that I was out in the world.
Okay. Well, yeah, you're gonna have fun. It's gonna be nice to see everybody, and hopefully, like I say, we'll do it as safely as possible. It's gonna be a blast. But
Yeah, man. I'll see you in 2 days.
yeah, exactly. Actually, 2 days before the actual show, we will be together
Well, that's
rehearsing.
true.
So there's that.
Yeah. Hey,
But,
speaking of, what day you guys want to do this? You want to do it on Thursday or Friday?
What, rehearse?
The rehearsal. Now that we've got everybody in the same place.
Well, let's try and do both. Rob gets in on
There you go.
Thursday, right?
Rob, what time?
Yeah.
When you come in? Thursday.
I get in at noon. on Thursday.
Okay. There you go.
All right.
We'll work
There
it
you
out.
go.
I know everybody's got schedules to work out, so we'll figure it out.
I should
know.
be pretty open for anything. So
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, make sure you tell Apple and the cat there that they should come to rehearsal.
yes.
Yes.
Crap on. It'd be fun. Okay, I love you guys.
See you, man.
All
Okay,
right.
have
Thank you, guys.
fun. And I'll be texting you in like 5 seconds about some other nonsense. So
right.
big love, big love. Bye.